Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review, so hopefully you find this one interesting. This movie is a horror film from the United States, English language, released in the year 2017, directed by Joe Deitch and Louis Gibson, and this film is called Happy Hunting. So Happy Hunting is about this man. He's a chronic alcoholic. He needs alcohol at every second, otherwise he goes into these really bad withdrawals. And so the first scene, he runs into a problem with some drug dealers that forces him to go on the run. So his destination is Mexico, but before he makes it over the border, he needs confirmation from someone that he's trying to phone that lives in Mexico. So until he gets that confirmation, he's stuck on the American side, and so he seeks refuge for a few days in Bedford Flats. Now, Bedford Flats used to be a very secluded town that specialised in hunting, but since the game has actually dried up, none of these hunters are coming to this town. So basically the economy has gone to hell, and it's being confined to just a dust bowl now. So he stays there for one night, but then he realises that they've compensated the lack of animals for drifters, and that he's going to be one of the prey, and now he's at their mercy. And so not only does he have to try and stay out of harm's way as far as the townsfolk is concerned, but he also has to deal with these alcohol withdrawals that are just as dangerous. So whether or not he can is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now, my thoughts on Happy Hunting. I didn't expect anything coming into this film. In fact, I expected this movie to be a really stupid experience, but what I got was a very entertaining experience with a few hidden bonuses in there for good measure. So if you go into it expecting a masterpiece, if you go in expecting just a haunting, very soul-searching film, you're not going to like this movie. This movie doesn't take itself seriously, so if you go into it expecting a popcorn horror film, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. But what I liked about it the most was the fact that the main character was so much more than just your typical superhero. This is a guy who is struggling with his inner demons, struggling with addiction. And so it's not only a movie about cat and mouse and fun times, but it's also a movie about alcohol dependency. And I think that the overall cinematography really does shine through that desperation that the main character was going through as well. And so I thought that was very smart. And it gives the main character a lot more than just a 2D cardboard cutout. In fact, there were some moments in this film that reminded me of the Australian classic Wake and Fright. Now, don't get me wrong, this movie is nowhere near Wake and Fright, but it has that same desolate area in its environment that is symbolising this alcohol dependency, and how lonely this road can be, and how torturous this road can be, and how unforgiving the road can be as well. Is that it's not an easy thing. It's that if you've got an addiction, you can't just say, I'm going to quit and that's it. You're going to have repercussions. You're going to have consequences as a result of this. And I thought those consequences were emulated very well through the visuals. The visuals are very just a hopeless situation, as that they're at the prey. They're at the mercy of these townsfolk who are absolute lunatics, and they're caricature villains. But this main character, I thought all this caricature nature in this film was actually playing a very strong role in the alcohol dependency that the film has going for it. And so it's a movie where you've got this very fascinating main character that you can actually ground yourself in realism with him. And so when he's fighting all these bad things, you think, okay, this is not just a soulless kind of film. It's not just an empty experience where you're supposed to just drink Coke and eat popcorn, and at the end of the day you think, okay, I'm going to forget this film very soon. But in the end, what you get is a movie that is very strange. It has a very strange effect on the viewer, knowing that the alcohol dependency that the film has makes the caricature nature a little bit more in depth than you'd initially think. So I thought that was the best part of Happy Hunting, and I thought it was a very intelligent way to actually get the viewer to think about that, as I said, through this very interesting character. So I thought it was very competently made. The atmosphere was fantastic. There was a lot of suspense. It was actually quite brutal in its kills, so if you're not into brutality, you might not like this film. Although it's not overly gory, it doesn't go into gratuitous violence, which I thought was a very sensible thing, because it's not really practical effects. But I thought they actually hid the lack of budget very well, because I still thought, although there was a little bit of CGI, it was still a very brutal experience, and so I really liked that. So you've got the caricature nature of a Rob Zombie's 31. If you like Rob Zombie's 31 and the way that film went about not taking itself too seriously, then I think you're going to enjoy some aspects of this film. It was like a very demented version of the Hunger Games, and as I said, even that Wake and Fright, where it's about this symbolisation of alcohol dependency, or not just alcohol dependency, but also addiction. And so I thought the main character was played very well. The acting, for the most part, was okay, especially the main character. I really like the main character, and it doesn't really try too hard to get you to like the main character. It's more a case of being interested in what he's actually doing. So it's so much more than just a Rambo type of figure. It's much more than just a Terminator type of figure, where you know that this guy's in no danger, because when he's not actually firing at the townsfolk or defending himself against the townsfolk, he's got that extra problem of coping with his inner demons. And so it also shows you that it's not only an outside presence that can be dangerous, but you yourself can be your biggest enemy. And I think this movie really does play that very well off this main person, or this main character. So if I had any problems with the film is that I thought it was a little bit too long. It goes for 91 minutes, so it's not an overly long film, but I thought with 80 or 75 minutes it would have been a lot better, because I thought there was a little bit of repetitive nature here and there that kind of doesn't derail it, but I thought, okay, I'm kind of it's outstaying its welcome just a little bit. And as I said, it does have moments where the acting is a little bit off, and I thought, okay, I can forgive that because it is a lower budget film. And I thought to myself, okay, it's a very self-aware film. It's not trying to take itself seriously, but if it took itself a little bit more seriously than it does, I thought it could have been a little bit better, because that alcohol dependency is definitely the most interesting aspect. But I thought that they didn't realise that, and maybe they could have played off that a little bit more, taken themselves a little bit more seriously, and you would have got a film that hits you with much more impact. But putting that aside, I still thought it was an incredibly fun film. If you go into it with the expectation that you're going to have a bit of popcorn, a few beers with a few friends, this is definitely going to get to you. And I also thought the added bonus of that very interesting main character makes it definitely a movie I would recommend. So overall, for Happy Hunting, going to give this one 3 stars. Go out there and see it. Alright guys, this is for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.